Welcome to this week's episode of Those Two Guys Talk Disney. I'm Justin Vaughn, joined again by Jay Gibson.
Hello, what up?
Alright, on this week's episode, I am sorry that it's late. I know it's supposed to come out on Tuesday. I believe it's Tuesday of this week, right?
I don't remember.
It's either Tuesday this week or Tuesday last week. I don't know, when was Thanksgiving? Thanksgiving was last week, right?
Oh, man.
Because our last episode came out the week of Thanksgiving. Like, literally, 2 days before Thanksgiving. But now you're going to make me look, Jay. I'm pretty sure it was last week.
I don't remember.
Yes, it was last week, Jay.
Yeah.
So I know it's supposed to come out on Tuesday, but scheduling conflicts. You know, we can't record until we're both together to record. I mean, that's just the way it is. But this week we're actually covering The Santa Claus
Ho, ho, ho.
with Tim Allen. First thoughts of this movie before we even get into the synopsis or anything else.
I thought it was a really hilarious, funny movie. But Tim Allen, man, I love Tim Allen anyway. He's great.
I've always liked this movie. To me, it's one of them I watch every single year.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I actually watch all of them every single year.
Yep.
I have not seen if they put new episodes of The Santa Clauses on there yet.
I don't think so.
But, like I said, I watch it every year. At least once, maybe 4 or 5 times.
Oh, yeah.
Alright. I'm going to jump around here. I'm not going to read the synopsis just yet. The ratings of this movie on IMDb, it's 6.6 out of 10. Which is a pretty decent score.
Not too bad, not too bad.
On Rotten Tomatoes, 73%. Of course it's 73%. Because this is a classic movie.
Oh, yeah. I mean, who doesn't like Tim Allen, first of all?
The budget for this movie was $22 million. Which isn't a bad budget for this movie. I don't think they really needed a huge budget for it, but it wasn't a bad budget.
Hey, but in turn, it made $190.3 million in box office. So.
Worldwide. So, yeah, by all means, man, this movie made some money. And it was released November 5th, 1994 in Hollywood, and November 11th, 1994 in the United States. It doesn't actually, I couldn't actually find when it was released worldwide.
Yeah, I got release dates November 5th, 94 in Hollywood, and then November 11th, 94 in the USA.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Synopsis on this movie, which me and Jay actually have an issue with the synopsis of this movie.
Yeah.
And it's not so much that we have an issue with the synopsis, it's how the synopsis is worded.
Yeah. Because it says, divorced dad Scott, which is Tim Allen, has custody of his son on Christmas Eve after he accidentally kills a man in a Santa suit. They're magically transported to the North Pole, where an elf explains that Scott must take Santa's place before the next Christmas arrives. Scott thinks he's dreaming, but over the next several months, he gains weight and grows an inexplicably white beard. Maybe the night at the North Pole wasn't a dream after all, and Scott has a lot of work to do. Now, the issue is, we're pretty sure the mom had custody.
Shouldn't it just say he had a visitation with the son?
Yeah.
Not custody.
Because when it starts,
the synopsis should have been, it should have had his son's name in it. It should have been Charlie instead of with the son. It should have been his son Charlie.
Yeah.
The other thing is, he accidentally kills a man. He didn't actually kill anybody.
Yeah.
He hey, you.
He scared the man.
And dude fell off the roof. Dude was on his roof.
Yeah.
He didn't actually kill anybody.
Yeah, it definitely could have been worded better, but I mean, it basically covers the gist of it, I guess.
It does, but it could have been worded a lot better.
Like I said, when it starts, you see Scott Calvin at his work Christmas party.
Yes.
/ celebration of the launch of that doll or whatever. And he's supposed to be home to get his son because his wife's going to be or ex-wife, my bad, she'll be dropping their son off. And that's where it got me because it said he had custody, but if that was true, then why was his wife dropping him off and then picking him back up the next day?
Exactly. I didn't understand that either. Now, I do like parts of this movie that are really, actually, genuinely funny. Like, you can tell the kid really doesn't want to go with his dad. And you can also tell he doesn't have a close relationship with his dad.
Yeah.
So, he, like, quietly asks his mom, do I really have to stay here? And she's like, I promise you I'll be here before breakfast.
Funny thing is, apparently, Bill Murray and Chevy Chase were both offered the role of Scott.
Both declined it.
Both declined it because they had other things going on that they were doing at the time.
Chevy Chase declined it because he had scheduling conflict. Bill Murray said no because he didn't want to do another holiday
Yeah, because he already did Scrooged.
He did Scrooged and a couple others, and he's done with holiday themed movies. I can understand that.
Which makes sense, yeah.
I
think it worked out for the best though, because
I couldn't see anybody else in this role.
Yeah, I don't think it would have went over as well as it did.
Bill Murray could have been funny and it could have been a classic just because of how funny he can make stuff. But Tim Allen had something nobody else would have had. There's a reason they just keep making more of these because he is genuinely a funny dude. And he plays Santa Claus so freaking well.
And I don't think you could take Clark from National Lampoon's Christmas and have him play Santa.
Yeah.
It just would have been... Like, it would have been funny, but it wouldn't have been the same.
Yeah. Well, and truth is, the whole concept of this couldn't have played out the same way. Because Bill Murray is a little bit old, or seems a little bit older than Tim Allen. I don't know if he actually is. I'm not looking it up right now. But he seems a little bit older. So you're going to believe his son's just a few, his son's what, 5, 6, something like that? I mean...
I want to say he was 8.
Was he?
In the first one, I think. Because on the second one, he's supposed to be...
A teenager.
Yeah, like 15.
I think he was in junior high in the second one. So that'd make him at least 14.
I want to say he was at least 8, I think, in the first one. I'm not sure.
Gosh,
Either way, he was still pretty young.
Yeah, he was still young. So it's a little bit harder to believe that Bill Murray would have had a kid that age. Same with Chevy Chase. Because, like, a lot of his, National Lampoons came out way before this, and it's a little bit harder to play that same role off them guys. Tim Allen, perfect foil for this. All right, so like Jay said earlier, it starts at his work Christmas party, celebrating the release of this doll that sold like crazy for Christmas time. That goes to the bathroom on its own, I guess. I
don't remember
what the doll actually does.
Of the doll, yeah.
And then he actually is driving. The roads are empty. Like, it is funny how he is playing.
He's running late. He was supposed to be home to meet his ex-wife, and he's running late, so he's making an excuse about being so full of traffic, and there's nobody.
And he's honking, yelling. Just to show that, traffic's crazy. And he's running late. Like, they're on the road, too, dude. Why would you think they wouldn't know?
That was my thing. Like, she literally just drove to your house. You think she probably knows what the roads were like or what the traffic was like?
Now, if you would have said, hey, I'm running late.
No,
I actually hit a spot where they hadn't plowed right.
Granted, she might not have been on that road.
True.
Because I think he was coming from in the city and going out to the suburb area where they probably were at. But
true.
Either way, like I said, she just drove to his house, so she's going to have some type of idea what the traffic's like out and about.
Yeah. And then after he gets Charlie and him and Neil have some kind of weird relationship.
Before we get into any more of that, though, the film was actually shot in Rayleigh Studios in Hollywood, California, and on location in the greater Toronto area, with the Oakville serving as the city of Lakeside, Illinois. The reindeer used in the film were actually from the Toronto Zoo.
Yes.
which is pretty cool.
And the trains used in the North Pole and the beginning of the film were made by
CB,
LGB.
yep.
Tom Selleck, Robin Williams, Tom Hanks, and Mel Gibson were also considered for the role of Dr. Neil Miller.
Yep.
Patricia Richardson, which would have been freaking hilarious, because isn't that the chick that played his wife in Home Improvement?
I think so.
Patricia Clarkson, Patricia Heaton, apparently they had a thing for Patricias, and Kate Burton were considered for the role of Laura Miller.
Yep. They ended up with Tim Allen and Scott Calvin / Santa Claus, SC, a little bit. Eric Lloyd as Charlie. David Krumholtz as Bernard the head elf. Judge Reinhold as Neil. Wendy Crushaw as Laura Miller.
Paige Tamada for Judy the Elf.
Yeah, I didn't write. I just wrote like the main ones there. I didn't write, like...
There's just a few I wrote that aren't like main ones. Larry Bradenberg as Detective Nunzio, because he has a very funny part in this. And Kenny Vadas as the ALFS leader.
Chris Kringle, Burrow Noel, Dijo.
That's why I said he actually has a pretty funny. And look, dude, I actually messed up when I typed these because I was trying to type them fast. I actually put the same name twice, last name.
You wrote ELFS.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Elves with attitude.
Now where was I? Oh, they get to his house. He says goodbye to her. Him and Neil have like this weird relationship thing.
Yeah.
You tell they don't really like each other.
Well, it's
Neil thinks he's better
the
than
ex-husband
Scott.
and the new husband, and
I know, and
Scott's like this cool like business guy, this big like toy business, and Neil's supposed to be like this nerdy doctor type, and he always making fun of him.
So he makes fun of him a little bit and goes inside, and after his ex-wife leaves, he's gonna make Charlie a traditional Christmas dinner. And you actually see this not really nice spread and then the camera pans out
to the
TV, and then you see his spread. Everything is burnt.
It's like some cooking channel he's watching, and everything's burnt.
Everything's burnt of his. And then you see here,
oven smoking.
he caught the turkey on fire. So then he decides, let's go out to eat.
They go to Denny's.
Well, originally he stops at a Chinese place and he goes, "Oh, do you feel like Chinese?" And Charlie said no. So he drives to Denny's. He goes, "Everybody loves Denny's," and he goes, "I don't want Denny's." He said, "Nonsense, everybody! It's American Constitution."
And you walk in, it's like nothing but like Japanese
Asians,
or Chinese or Asian business people
throwing a hellacious party,
saying who knows what.
Yeah.
I don't
and then
that.
realized, then like Judy, the waitress, "Are you with this party?" He said no, and then she said, "Oh, one of them." So she said, "Follow me," and then get back there, and you just see dads and kids sitting around all these tables, and then you looked at one guy, and
one
goes,
dad's got his hands all taped up,
"Burnt turkey," and he just shakes his head and waves, and then nothing's going right for him. Because he's like, "Oh, how about
nice cold glass of eggnog?"
And then Charlie goes, "I don't like eggnog." And she goes, "We're out."
And then Charlie said something about wanting milk or something.
He said chocolate milk. She goes, "We're out." He goes, "White milk's fine."
Poor Charlie.
But then you see him back at Scott's house.
He's reading Charlie the Night Before Christmas.
And then he's got to explain like some of the words.
Charlie,
it does make sense why you have
what's a clatter?
Yeah. Which actually does end up playing into everything later.
It's like a clatter, like a loud noise.
Because he tries to looks like Charlie's falling asleep, so he just kind of blah, 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 through the book. And then it says the very last line.
Well, good night.
Then Charlie starts asking questions, so he's got to explain it, and he tells him to go to sleep. And he goes to go to bed, which he sleeps in a t-shirt and boxers. Well, then Charlie hears Santa land on the roof.
You're the clouder. A clouder. Can't talk.
He runs in, he wakes up his dad like a normal kid
He's
would.
like, Dad, a clouder. I heard a clouder. Why do I keep saying clouder? I heard a clouder.
Well, then Scott hears it, so he goes.
First he's like, oh,
outside.
no, he didn't. Then he hears it, and he's like,
but then he goes outside. Oh, he grabs his coat
his boots.
and boots.
And he's like, you know how to dial 911, right?
Yeah, I know, Charlie. Of course, 911. But he goes outside in a coat and his boots. Doesn't bother putting on pants.
Yeah.
He's in his boxers. One of his, thing popped out.
Mind you, snow on the ground. Obviously, it's December. It's Christmas Eve. So obviously, it's cold as balls outside.
I don't know about you, but even if I heard something outside, I'm at least putting pants on.
I'm at least putting my damn pants on.
Exactly.
Or a pair of sweatpants, something I can just easily pull on real quick.
A pair of shorts at least, man. At least it's something on you.
Yeah.
You gotta have something to protect Jules, man.
Yeah.
But then he hears somebody up on the roof, and he looks up, there's somebody there, and he said, "Hey, you!" And the guy slips and falls.
Starts the guy, and the guy slips and falls off. Woo-hoo.
And then Charlie goes, "You got him!"
He's like, Charlie, stay up there on the porch.
And then the guy, vanishes. And then Charlie goes, "You killed him!"
He, puts his hand up.
Yeah, he, waves.
Weird.
So they pick up the clothes, and then, he turns around and then right into a ladder.
And he's like, look, Dad, I wrote such a ladder company.
Which is why I said it plays in. But they climb up on the roof.
Well, Charlie climbs up the ladder.
Yeah. Then the reindeer.
He's like, whoa, Dad.
And the sleigh's up there.
Meanwhile, Dad's trying to collect the pants and the...
And then he actually reads the card saying that if you find this, put the code on, and the reindeer will know what to do. So then he spends the rest of the night delivering toys and gifts in this giant suit.
Just open up and... the way Charlie described it. It just opened up looking like he's sucking food through a straw.
The first house he goes to, there's a giant Rottweiler. That's trying to eat him. So he hurries, he tosses them gifts, and he sucks back up the chimney, and he's like, "Get out of here! Get out of here! Get out of here!" And it literally just goes right around to the next roof. And he goes, "I can't deliver nothing. There's nothing in the bag."
Don't they setting off the house alarm too?
Yeah. Comet is keep making noise like you don't know what you're talking about, and he goes, "I'm telling you, there's nothing left." And he picks the bag up, and the bag's full, which is a pretty awesome bag, dude.
He's like, "There's no chimney." How am I? And all of a sudden, the thing just expands real big. Gotta go.
And then it actually creates a chimney.
Yeah. You see, the furnace, old style,
It's a wood burning stove.
Yeah, furnace grate thing. And you see all of a sudden just fireplace, magnificent fireplace. I don't know where.
But yeah, so he keeps delivering. The rest of the night, he just keeps delivering these gifts. And one girl, he actually wakes up and she goes, "Well, you're not fat." And he goes, "Santa went on a diet.
You're not drinking your milk or eating cookies. I'm lactose intolerant."
But she also points out that he doesn't have a beard. He goes, "Well, Santa shaved." He's just kind of rude to her.
He's like, "Do you want this doll? Go back to sleep."
And the only thing he ate off that plate was some celery. Dude, you couldn't have grabbed some cookies for Charlie at least? Charlie's sitting in the sleigh.
You could at least pick up the cookies and take them with you, you're going to eat them, and she would never know the difference. You could went up to gave them to Charlie, and she never would have known.
Yeah, you could have said Santa's lactose intolerant. You still could have said that. 100% okay. Makes sense. And
after all these years of drinking milk, he could end up being lactose. So.
But okay. But you could at least take some cookies back for Charlie.
Yeah.
But they end up at the North Pole after he says, "Go home," or "Time to go home, boys," and they go to the North Pole. That's when you find out.
All you see is this little red and white pole. And they're sitting there trying, like, nothing to oppose at it. And then you see these little elves come running out of nowhere. And they pop up in this little pad.
Yeah, which lowers them down.
Yep.
But then you actually meet Bernard.
What's cool is when they get lowered down, and like all of a sudden the radios just run off to their own little pins.
Well, that's why they're waiting for that one to actually come and enter the number.
Yeah.
And then they just magically appear in their pins.
Yeah.
But he keeps asking, who's in charge here? And they keep telling him, you are. Who's the head elf? You are. But then they meet Bernard. Bernard's kind of rude. I kind of understand, though, he does have kind of an important job. As a head elf, I get it.
Yeah.
And they, kind of just... He tells him everything he needs to know. He still doesn't believe it. Actually shows him the Santa Claus. Because he's a businessman. He understands what a clause of a contract is. So they show him the Santa Claus.
Yep.
And then he actually introduces him to Judy.
He who puts on the coat becomes the Santa Claus. You put on the jacket before you're him.
But he introduces him to Judy. Which, as a kid, again, thought Judy was hot. I remember this from when I was a kid. Obviously, I can't watch it the same way, but I do still remember that.
Hey, apparently she was like 100 years old.
Yeah, true. And then she thought Santa was hitting on her.
Awkward.
Especially when she turned him down and said, no, thank you. She's seeing somebody in rapping.
Awkward.
So
apparently she makes some really bomb hot chocolate, though.
You know what, dude? I've actually thought about trying to make it
not too hot, not too cold,
with a little touch of cinnamon. But she kind of has a really nice line. Seeing isn't believing, believing is seeing.
Which Charlie then reuses in like the second one.
Yes, I was trying to think. Yes, he
the
does.
principle.
But he also uses it in the first one. When he's talking to his dad towards the end of the movie.
I think Bernard also said that too at one point. When he gives him the globe, actually, I think Bernard makes that statement. Or something like that. I'm pretty sure Bernard says it at one point in time.
But they fall asleep and they
give him the pajamas,
which says
like,
SC,
and he's like, "Dad, look, SC for Santa Claus." Scott Calvin is saying this was yours.
Well, then they wake back up.
But they're back
at Scott's house.
Yeah, back at Scott's house.
Mind you, the skateboard he has, I actually used to own one of them.
I remember watching it one time, and he pulled it out, and I'm like, "Dude, Justin had one of those." I remember playing with it over on Justin's porch.
Because remember, I used to lay on it because it like fold out. You can actually ride it standing up.
It's like 3 different boards, with, like a handle.
And yeah, there's 3 different difficulties. What it was, so you can actually do it. It's like a U shape. So it had a board here, and then a board here. This board over here was like their top one. It's a smaller board. The one in the middle is actually the most difficult because there's no real way to actually put a second foot. Mm-hmm. So it's actually a bit harder. And then the last one is actually the biggest board. It's easiest to ride. You can actually just pop it down and you can just grab the handles of the other one and just ride.
Every time I watch it, I always remember that. I'm like, dude, Justin had one of those.
I don't know where I got that.
I don't remember where you got it either,
but that thing was awesome. I wish I could find one.
I remember you having it, though.
I would buy myself another one, dude.
I remember playing with it over on your mom's porch.
Honest God, I'd buy myself another one. Those things were awesome.
Finding one now probably worth a pretty penny.
Oh, probably. Because they probably don't make them anymore. The company that probably made them probably out of business now. But yeah, I've seen that and I was like, I used to have one of those.
I actually did, like I said, I actually just thought about that recently when I watched it, and he putting it out of the car. I'm like, dude, Justin used to have one of those.
I loved that board.
I remember playing with that thing.
I love that board, dude. I rode that thing everywhere for quite a while, dude. I had it for years. Anyways, Charlie's mom comes and picks him up, and they leave. Charlie's telling his mom about their night, and he says, she goes, "Oh, nice pajamas," and he goes, "Yeah, I don't know where I got them." And Charlie goes,
Judy
gave them to you. And then he runs outside. He goes, "Judy was our waitress." She goes, "Oh, nice. Get PJs from a waitress." No, he wasn't. But he couldn't exactly tell her, "No, I got them from an elf."
Because he didn't really believe it himself. He was still in denial about the whole.
Yes. And to be fair, I would have been in denial too.
That's something like that to happen. I mean, you kind of are in disbelief. You're like, there's no way that this happened.
No way.
Like, what?
But as the weeks go on, like, Charlie's telling everybody his dad's Santa Claus now. And Neil's like
His
giving
mom
him...
and Neil are starting to get really worried.
Because Neil was a D-bag and told Charlie, "Oh, Santa doesn't exist."
Yeah.
So, kind of killed his spirit for Christmas, dude. I mean...
Well, Neil's a therapist or
yes.
whatever he is. So everything's got to be logic to him or whatever.
You got to prove it.
Yeah.
Hey, Charlie actually has a really good line on him. He goes, "Well, I've never seen Santa Claus." He goes, "You've never seen $1 million either, have you?"
For like I said, 7 or 8-year-old kid to just throw that out there like that, I was like...
Respect, kid, respect.
I was like, first of all, you ain't never gonna hear a little kid that age talk like that. Like, what?
Respect, though, man. Like, he very valid point.
Like, dude, he just got you, like...
He scolded him bad.
He burned
just
you,
that
bud.
one line. Which actually you find out when, like, each of them stopped believing in Santa Claus.
And apparently Neil was, like, really young when he stopped
He was,
believing.
like, 3.
Yeah.
Because he didn't get a Oscar Mayer weenie whistle. And Charlie's mom, Laura, stopped believing when she was, like, 8 or 9 because...
She wanted the date game.
Yeah. And she didn't get it. She got everything else she wanted, but that game.
And I think she said kids at school were telling her Santa wasn't real or something. I don't remember how it went, but yeah.
But that's crazy.
But a weenie whistle. A weenie whistle. Look at the get to Oscar Mayer, a weenie whistle. Of all things.
But it even bleeds over into school because, like, they have a career day at school, and Scott shows up for it with the doll that his company makes. Yeah. And of course, Neil's there to talk to.
And Charlie's like,
and Charlie just wants his dad to go first, and he says, "My dad is Santa Claus."
And of course, Scott's like, "What do you mean? Is I'm like Santa Claus?"
And then Charlie goes in to tell him, no, he's wrong. He really is Santa Claus, and this is what happened.
So then some kid in his class was like, "So what you're saying is when I grow up and I want to be Santa Claus, all I gotta do is knock your dad off the roof?"
Yeah, that kid, like, that kid seriously needed some help.
Yeah,
like he was showing some very psychotic tendencies.
I was like, whoa.
Like, if I want to be Santa Claus when I grow up, I just got to push your dad. I just got to push you off the roof.
I was like, somebody like, let's get some help. Neil, therapy right now.
Like, that's the kid that needed therapy, not Charlie.
Yeah.
Charlie's dad legit is Santa Claus. That kid needs some help. Yeah.
That was a definite red flag sign right there of this kid needs some help. Because like, I feel like it could get worse later on in life. Just get some help.
But they just try to make Scott feel bad about Charlie believing in Santa Claus and, like, carrying on like this.
And Charlie never quit believing, though.
Which, my whole thing is, even if this kid believes this, why do you want to crush his imagination? Like, why is that so bad to crush that?
They really tried, but it didn't happen.
Well, no, because he knew it was true.
It's funny when Scott takes him to the park, sat on the park bench, try to talk to him, like, "Hey, let's just keep this Santa business between us, like our little secret. So I'll give you like $5." And they start walking, and Charlie just kind of starts laughing because the deer just kind of
the reindeer just following behind him. But yeah, then, like, as the year progresses, Scott starts gaining weight. He grows a beard.
Oh, and Charlie's mom catches him in his room and then like made his room look like a sleigh. Practicing to drive the sleigh.
Well, then he actually goes into work, to a work meeting. None of his clothes fit.
Sweats.
Because he got so much bigger.
Sweats.
And he says, the dry cleaner I have all my suits at, went up and smoked. This is a bee sting. The swelling will go down. But then orders a bunch
They order
of
lunch,
food.
and he's like, he wants to give me a salad with the dressing on the side. Then he's like, give me some fresh cookies, a chocolate sundae with the fudge on the side, and a tall glass of cold milk. And they're all just looking at him like, a bee sting? Okay.
Well, then they're introducing the total tank. Imagine Santa coming down your street and that, and then like Scott goes, "Oh no, 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 no,
Santa on a pansy."
And like the way he acts this out and stuff, like people really should be paying closer attention to him, like for real. Because like I understand your whole point is to sell the total tank, but just have a really cool edge. You don't need to include Santa Claus in that. Boys will want it. Because let's get real, if they would have shown the total tank, we would have wanted that.
They're naughty Santa's gonna blow your house up.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Then they showed a picture of the elf, and he's like, "That's all wrong."
They should look merrier.
They should look younger. I thought I was looking all old. I do think it's funny though, because like his boss ends up being Father Time.
Yeah.
And the next, and like the ones later on, it's the same guy.
And the next two.
Yeah, it's the same guy.
Then the next, like I say, he's gaining the weight. He's growing the beard. He tries to shave his beard, dye his hair. And literally, as he's standing in the mirror, it grows right back and goes right back to white.
Here goes white, babe.
But the list does get delivered.
It's funny though, because he goes to the doctor. He's like, "I shave in the morning, but I have to not look like this."
And the doctor said, maybe a hormone imbalance.
He like listens to his heartbeat and hear like jingle bells or whatever playing.
But he also...
He's like, "What's your diet?" He's like, "Cookies, milk."
But I don't finish all the milk. Well, there you go. Lay off the sweets. But then he says if you don't like it, diet, and you should diet. Which is such a doctor... That's a dad joke.
Dude, I wouldn't lie. I've been like, "I eat salads, breakfast, dinner, and lunch. Here's lunch and dinner, man. I don't know what's going on."
Well, then, so you actually see him trying to dye his hair and shave his beard, and the people actually show up to deliver the list. And they say, "Oh, there's quite a few of them." "Oh, yeah, just leave them right here." Two things here. One, in the beginning of the movie, he's in, like, an apartment kind of thing. So he's in, like, a row of houses, like, are really close together. But when you see that, he has a circle drive now?
Yeah, I did. I was so confused. Yeah, because,
And a spiraling staircase that he didn't have at the beginning of the movie?
yeah, because at the beginning of the movie, like you said, he lived in like a natural suburb
duplex.
area, like a suburb area, you know. And then all of a sudden, yeah, now all of a sudden he got Circle Drive.
Yeah,
and,
it's like a condo or a townhouse is what he lives in, like a
maybe
condo townhouse.
maybe he moved over that year or something.
I don't know, but they never talk about this.
Yeah, they never explained.
Saying, "Hey, Charlie, I'm getting a bigger house." Nothing.
Yeah, they never explained.
Just all of a sudden, he's in this house with a circle drive and a spiral staircase.
I'm assuming that's what happened over that year. He must have moved.
But then he starts looking, and it's just the list.
Just boxes and boxes and boxes of the 90s.
So he runs out after him to send it back, and they were already gone.
It's funny, he's walking down the street, and he's like, just like, nice. You've been very nice.
He goes, naughty,
Naughty.
nice, very nice.
She's like, in your dream.
And you go, huh? Yeah, but he keeps progressing on, like, becoming Santa Claus.
Goes to
He ends
Charlie.
up losing custody of Charlie.
Well, he goes to Charlie's soccer game, and he's sitting there, and his mom and Neil pull up, and there's like a line of kids Just want to
Because
sit
the
on
one
Santa's
just
lap.
came over and just climbed on his lap and said, "I want this for Christmas."
No, I really
Like,
couldn't land it.
he wasn't doing anything wrong. Like, he was legit just sitting in the park.
So when Charlie's mom and Neil pull up and see that, his mom has a conniption fit. His mom does go. Next thing you know, they're taking him for full
They pulled
custody.
Charlie out of his soccer game
Next
just
thing-
to make him leave.
Next thing you know, they're going to the attorney and pull him for full custody and
Couple things here.
taking his visitations away.
Why weren't they at the game from the beginning? If they're such great parents, why were they not at the game in the beginning?
I don't know, but
Why'd they show up halfway through?
in reference to the synopsis, it even states, she states that, it's taking his visitations away.
Yeah.
Not going to be able to have visitations anymore. So if you have visitations, they obviously didn't have custody.
Yeah.
What? They definitely worded that synopsis all kinds of wrong.
Well, then it kind of like, he's really down because he lost Charlie, and he just kind of decides to stop by there just to see him really quick, and he's telling him he thinks it's best that he stays with his mom and Neil, and then Bernard shows up, and he goes, "Well, I don't see why you can't go."
Well, no, before that, he gives his dad that snow globe, and his dad looks at it, and he actually sees, he tells him, "Thank you for believing in me," blah, 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 and I don't know.
And then Bernard shows up eating their food.
It looked like a gyro or something. I don't know. It was like a pita.
I think it's
like
a falafel.
Gyro. I don't know. It could have been. Whatever it was.
He's always eating their food.
But then he disappeared, and then she comes back, or the mom comes back again, and they're gone.
Yeah.
They lived.
Which is then it starts the manhunt for Scott Calvin.
They're back at the North Pole.
They're kind of running through like last minute preparations for Christmas, including a new Santa suit.
A fireproof suit. And the whole time, Scott's like, what if I fall off the roof?
Very valid concern, seeing how that's how he took over.
He just keeps asking him that constantly.
And then but they do the upgrades to the sleigh. Charlie actually calls his mom saying that we're working hard up at the North Pole. I'll be back on Christmas Eve. Like, he does tell her all this.
Apparently, he makes his mom and Neil something while he's there during all this at some point in time.
He actually makes the sleigh actually safer for him.
Yeah, like he actually helps make upgrades to Santa's sleigh.
Like a CD, coffee, cocoa dispenser.
Oh, CD player. No, it's a cookie cocoa dispenser.
Yeah.
Boy, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
They add a two-way radio to the
Linked to Judy. Radar on the sleigh and just everything, which is kind of cool.
Give it all kinds of bells and whistles.
And it's Common actually gives him a gift of a rope.
The deer, the reindeer is the one that gives him a rope. He's like, so is this for keep me from falling off the roof?
But so when he's actually they're delivering all the gifts, and the house he stops at with the girl that from the beginning of the movie, he takes a drink and she wakes up. He goes, I think your milk's a little sour. She goes, you said you're lactose intolerant. That's soy milk.
I did, didn't I?
Thank you for remembering. And then he went back up.
Yeah, that would have been kind of gross, man. Take a picture of that. Oh.
Yeah, especially if you're not expecting it.
Yeah. The soy milk is nice.
But he did tell her he was lactose intolerant. She prepared and had her parents buy soy milk. So kudos to her.
Yeah.
But then they're stopped by.
Again, she's sleeping in like a chair or something in the living room, not even in her bed.
But then they're going to stop by Neil and Laura's house. He's going to drop off Charlie's gifts that he made him.
And
then he gets caught. Which is where the funny part of Detective Nunzio comes in.
They're asking him his name. He's like, I'm gonna ask your name. You're gonna say Scott Calvin. Let's try this again. What's your name?
Santa Claus.
Santa Claus. What's your name? Chris Kringle. Père Noël. Gigio.
But it's Bernard and another guy or another elf that said maybe it's time to send in the elves.
Send in the ELFS. ELFS.
And then so they do, and these guys like jetpack there.
It's the elves. Something I don't remember.
I don't remember what it all stood for.
I just know it's ELFS.
But they actually go to the Miller's house, find Charlie on the roof. Charlie tells him his dad's been arrested, so they're gonna go break him out of jail, and the elves take him with them, and they tell him don't do this without elf supervision. And they said that when they get there to the police station, they are actually talking to the officer there at the desk, and he's like, "You're the Calvin kid." And then Charlie starts making faces at him. He goes, "But who are these kids?" And they said, "Elves with attitude." And they actually like gift wrap him, like
the Effective Liberating Flight Squad.
Oh, they basically wrap him in like the ribbon for the presents.
And then Charlie shoved the donut in his mouth.
Yeah. And then they go into where the jail is and
pull out tinsel.
They grab tinsel off the tree there, and then like cut
tinsel. More than just a decoration.
They actually cut the hinges.
Yeah, the hinges.
And then that's when they say tinsel, not just for decoration. And then the other guys are like, "Can I get some tinsel?"
Yeah, the other inmates like, "Hey guys, want tinsel?"
So they actually get him back to the Miller's house.
Well, it's funny because when the ELFS do get to Charlie, they're on the roof. They're like, "We're talking about walking out of here."
Yeah. And Scott actually does do right. Like, he's Charlie.
Well, they go back
should
to
stay here with
Charlie's mom's house to get his hat because his hat was still laying there in the living room.
Well, and he tells Charlie, "You should stay here with your mom and Neil. I can't be selfish, and neither can you. Millions of kids are dependent on me tonight.
I can't be selfish either."
But he actually makes him see, like, it's important for them to be with him, too.
You see his mom starting to well up, and she realizes he really is Santa. And, like,
and Neil's just in awe.
She's like, "Hold on, don't go anywhere. I actually have a gift for you." And she goes against the fucking custody papers. The word slipped out.
So close, Jay.
So
so close.
I was doing so good. She goes against the custody papers and throws them in the fireplace in the fire.
And the whole time, Neil's like...
and Neil's like, what's going on? And Bernard shows back up again.
And you can actually hear him go, "You guys, does anybody believe in basting a bird?" And then he's walking with the drumstick.
And Neil, like, takes the food away from him, and he's like, "Hey, that's our food. Like, what are you doing?"
Like, it's so random.
And he, like, turns around and he's gone again. Neil's like, he starts running to the house trying to find him.
Actually, that may have been when they were eating the falafel.
Yeah, because he takes
the first time it had been the turkey. But because he takes food from him. And, like, he never, like, asked. He just starts eating their food.
He just shows up there and then, like, steals their food. Neil starts walking through the house looking for him, like, "He's gone." And she's like, "I'll explain it to you later."
But then when Scott goes outside, all the cops come rushing in. And they're like, "He's already went up the chimney." And then you see the sleigh actually lift up off the roof and start to fly. And then when he comes back around, he just throws gifts out to everybody.
Well, to them three. He drops the soccer ball for Charlie, the weenie whistle for Neil, and then the date game to his ex-wife.
And then he flies away. And then you actually get where Charlie comes out and he's wanting his daddy shaking the globe,
Well, when Bernard shows up, he tells him, he's like, "You still got that snow globe I gave you, Charlie?" He's like, "Anything you want your dad, just shake it. He'll be there."
And then, so Scott actually does reappear, and
he's sitting there shaking. His mom goes, "I don't think it works." About the time, "You miss me already, Squirt?" I was like, "I just left. I was over
flying over Cleveland."
Yeah, over Cleveland or whatever. I was like, oh,
And then she lets him go back, and then it says, "Not over any oceans."
Scott, Santa.
And that is our movie.
Classic, man.
I love this movie.
I do too. It's really good, really fun. I really like how they do the whole North Pole and elves. I just think it's great.
Yeah, the North Pole in this, dude, it's very classic. Very, very well done.
The workshop, like it's all really well done.
It doesn't look cartoony.
No.
Which can be kind of hard to pull off, but doesn't look cartoony.
No, it was really well done.
All the elves are different, like so they're not just one or two people playing all the different elves. All of them are genuinely different because they're all different sizes, different races.
Yeah.
Like, you know, skin tones, I should say, not races, because obviously they're elves. But genuinely, all different.
Yeah.
And that's nice. Pretty sure they use kids for that, but I could be wrong. I'm 100% sure I'm right on that.
Well, no, because Bernard's wasn't a kid.
Other than like him.
I think some of them might have been kids, but
I think most of the elves are kids.
I don't know what all their ages were, age ranges were.
Because they don't look like little people. They look like children. And that's not saying nothing bad. Just little people do have a distinctive look. They don't look like that.
Yeah.
They actually look like kids. But they look like kids in varying ranges of age.
Yeah.
Just none of them that's hit a growth spurt yet to be really tall. Bernard's the tallest one. Alright, so come back next week when we actually cover another Christmas movie. Again, this one is actually a Disney Plus Christmas movie. It was not actually released in theaters. Called Noel. I'm very excited to cover this one. As you can tell, we're actually jumping in years here. Because this one came out in 1994. And the other one comes out in 2019. So we're trying to cover a little bit of old, a little bit of new stuff too. And we'll continue doing that as we progress through this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll be back with you guys next week.
Catch you on the flip side.